Got it. There we go. All right. Now we're going to record this for. There we go. Great. Welcome. I'm going to pin myself for now. I couldn't change my view, or not my view, my image. It seems. Oh, wait. Oh, it seems like Zoom changes all the time. Spotlight for everyone. There I am. Now you get my pink and hairy mug. Hello, welcome everybody. I'm so glad everybody's here. Emma, I'm going to ask you to guide us through anything I either miss or anything that's going on in the chat, or any like emergencies that are happening for instance, in the chat or whatever. Let me close this little thing. Great, and Emma's putting things in the chat. Welcome. I'm just going to dig into it because I don't like wasting people's time. I was at a webinar yesterday because I'm learning the piano, and it was really good and really long. It was like 2 hours long. It was way too long. It might have been 2.5. And so much of that was like a sales pitch at the end, which first of all, we're going to keep this to an hour. And second of all, we're going to say, sign up if you want. All right, so we're here to answer questions. We're also here to tell you a lot about the program, which is the SAW Comic Certificate Program that's online. I'm just going to dig into it. I'm going to be sharing my screen 2 different times. I think I can, I think actually maybe just once. Desktop preview. Why isn't it? Oh, wow, you guys. I think it's just going to have to show my whole desktop because it is not showing me what's on. Oh, okay, wait. Oh my gosh. System preferences. Sorry, you guys. Yes, Zoom. Sorry. I just got a new Zoom update and it gave me all of these problems. Oh my gosh. Emma, I have to close out and close back in. I can't believe that. So you are in charge for 2 seconds, okay?
Okay.
Right,
thanks,
Tom. Tell them whatever you have to do.
Thanks everyone for your patience. This is actually a little part of the program, is us figuring out the software and managing communication. So you're getting an insight into how the year can look. We appreciate you all being here today. Tom's going to run through what the course looks like, and at the end of it, we'll be able to answer any questions. So if you have any questions as his presentation goes on, feel free to add them into the chat. And we'll do our best to answer them. I think Tom is back in here now.
I am back. Thank you.
Hi, welcome back, Tom. I was just letting everyone know that you'll be giving us a presentation and they can pop any questions in the chat.
And hopefully it'll let me share my screen now. So there we go. Yep. Okay.
Let's do this.
Okay. Can you see that SAW Online Comic Certificate Program? Okay. Thank you. Let's see. Enter full screen. Okay. Welcome. Here we are. So yeah, sorry about that. I assume Emma filled you in on the entire program in the 2 minutes I was gone. This is our, I've honestly lost count. It's our 12th year, I think, us doing this program, maybe 13th, maybe 11th, somewhere in there. Anyway, we're based out of Florida. That's why we use this image so much of drawing underwater, but let's just get into it. So first thing I want to tell you is that SAW actually is a real place. It's in Gainesville, Florida. It used to look like this when it was a little more run down. Emma has since fixed it up. But it was a really convivial place, and you can see like there's everybody drawing on top of each other, and it was just a great atmosphere. Those like warm summer nights in Gainesville, or even those warm winter nights in Gainesville, all drawing together in this like sweaty little room. It's fantastic, and we've tried to recreate the same thing online. Back then, we used to do these great figure drawing sessions. Here we are drawing with sticks in a warehousey little adjacent place to our other location. We had amazing art shows. This was an amazing one where we teamed up with the University of Florida and had this just a great celebration of art and story and community. Here's some more shots of that particular show. It was one of my happier times there. We've had lots and lots and lots of student art shows. This is Nadia, who's in a lot of our promo material and who's still in the community. I'll tell you about that later. This is Kelsey. I'll talk more a little bit about Kelsey later, but lots of student art shows where the people, the students show what they've done, and the community comes out for them. And Emma still arranges these in town in Gainesville, Florida, and we also do them online. in a variety of different ways. So anyway, that's a little bit about SAW in person. Oops, lost my, there we go. So some of the instructors you're going to be meeting, if you join us, Sidney Davidson, he's got an MFA at SCAD. He draws these amazing drawings in just about any media you can imagine. Here he is drawing one of the Games of Thrones characters with a mixture of like a toothbrush and all sorts of crazy things. And he just sits down and draws these. And Sidney's a really great speaker. And then he's like always very vulnerable about what he's experiencing as an artist, especially if it's negativity, especially if it's doubt. And he's really a kind, wise person about that. Justine Anderson runs our second drawing session, which is called Depth and Details. And she's got a long history of just lots of professional work. And she's an amazing and insightful instructor. Ayani Cooper is our modern comics exploration teacher. She's the only doctor on our staff, I think. Anyway, we're really proud of that. And she's super cool and guides you through thinking about comics in its current context in today, in our world today. Rob Clow will tell you about comics in its history and tell you and show you how you can pinpoint yourself in the long arc that has been comics history. And with that sort of wisdom, you can I think you can sort of plant your flag a little bit better. You can interact with your own world a little bit better when you know the history a little bit. Jess Rollifson is our floating teacher. She does a little bit of everything at SAW. She's really such an insightful teacher. So she's bound to pop up here and there. Lauren Weinstein is one of our teachers at the end of the course when she'll talk about drawing and painting. A lot of the ideas or the things you need to think about when you're finishing your comics, whether it's colored pencil or digital or laying things out and stuff like that. And then there's Emma and myself. This is Emma. You can read some of her credentials there. She's probably shy, so she probably wants me to take this picture off. So there I am. I'm also a little bit shy, believe it or not. But I've got, it says 20 years teaching experience. It's coming up on 25 now. And I can't even keep track of all the pages I've drawn and all the years I've been drawing. But I'm still, here I am. So you're probably saying, all right, who cares about these people? What's in it for me? So what's in it for you? If you join us in this program, which is our real most, I think it's our most special program, because it's really high touch. We have a lot of you'll have a lot of interactions with me in the group. You'll have a lot of interactions with all the instructors, such as Justine, such as Sidney, such as Lauren, such as Ayani and Rob. You'll also have a community of fellow artists to engage with. And that's a big part of what we do here too. You can learn all the stuff we're teaching you. You can learn it from a variety, 100 different places, but you won't be able to engage with the instructors directly. And you won't have this wisdom of a community around you unless you do it in an organized program like this. You'll have a goal to work towards. An art show, yes, but more particularly a book. Every year we put out an anthology of the end of the year work. It's a big part of the fourth quarter, is getting you to think about what excerpt you're going to make or what piece you're going to make, how to format it for print, how to get it to us in the correct shape, both digitally, technologically, and narratively, visually. And that goal really motivates people. I've got two of the previous ones here. You can see that one in the image, but there's two of them, and I'm going to ask Emma to show the third one in a bit. That was from last year. And lastly, a tested curriculum that works is what I say. This is Sally Cantorino. She was our first student. I built this school in 2012. Basically, I was planning it in 2010, but I started it in 2012 for Sally and for people like Sally. Sally, I met as a teenager. She was enrolled at the School of Visual Arts in New York City in the teen program, but one of the best cartoonists I'd ever seen at that age. And she wanted to go to SVA, but couldn't afford it because it's like $100,000 million per year. So I was totally distraught by that. That's where I taught. And I said, there has to, first of all, I was like Sally too. Like I was really a hungry young artist. I couldn't afford where I wanted to go. I wanted to find myself in a school where the artists are there, the students are there, and we just learn from each other, and we learn through the mentorship, and it just doesn't have to cost that much. So I made this school for Sally. Sally went through the program. She is now on the Simon & Schuster website with her own graphic novels. We're so proud of her. And she's just done great things. In addition, more recently, as in 2 days or like a week from now, Anjali Rafer has her book coming out. It's coming out September 5th. She took our program 2 years ago, and at the end of it got this book deal. And I think I've got a little testimonial, where she's like, this was her texting, emailing us during the process. She was even like, don't tell anybody, but I think I might have a book deal, that kind of stuff. And then finally, she's like, I 100% believe this wouldn't happen if I didn't get 2 new cool projects done in 2021 via saw and uploaded them. Anyway, I couldn't have done this. Anyway, we're really proud, and we are hungry to get that book in our hands, but it's not out for about a week. That's super exciting. The day after Labor Day, I guess. So here's what the course is. It is 8 or 9 months of intense work, and then a bunch of sort of like winding down, putting the anthology together, reflecting on what we've learned and stuff like that. It is 9 6-week courses and a long final assignment. So in the first quarter, we have Drawing for Comics. Drawing for Comics, it's probably the most intensive course, but it's also the one we are the most forgiving. We'll just like, don't worry about it. It'll come, because it does come. If you practice a little bit, a year from now, even 6 months from now, maybe you're like, oh, I'm starting to get it. That thing we talked about back in September, I'm starting to understand. And that's okay. That's how it's supposed to work, actually. Drawing for Comics will look at drawing the figure, drawing expressions, putting people in places, arranging the elements in a panel. That means composition and composing the shot so it tells a narrative story. A little more of that on section 5. That's the 5th week. These are all the weeks. And the 6th week is when we open up the final assignment and say, okay, now we're going to do a final assignment. That is a 2-week project. And then it takes everything we learned from all 3 classes. Here's a post from Sidney giving people more instruction about perspective, because somebody asked, how do you draw perspective on a hill, which is crazy. I've never done it. I'm not going to try. But Sidney will go in and say, oh, I got you here. I'll help you out. And in fact, we have students coming in trying, looking at the assignments, and actually this one is done wrong. And Sidney went in and in a different post helped them sort it out. And it's okay if you do it wrong anyway. We help you understand how that can work. And here's a thank you to Sidney from one of our previous students. Thank you so much for answering my question. I appreciate it. Can't wait to start drawing in more complicated perspectives. We get lots of that in the chat room. My class is called Storytelling in that first semester, and we'll look at a single panel. We'll look at stories in the panel. We'll look at silent stories that are wordless. We'll look at how time works. We'll go into page design. We'll look at story structure, all of that in the first 5 weeks. And then that 6th week, we're working on the same project we're working on in Drawing for Comics, which is a final assignment. So we'll look at single panel cartoons like The Far Side, but we'll also look at paintings like this Munch painting and this other French painting who I can't remember, and how they all sort of are part of a continuum of teaching you how to sort of put narrative in one panel. This is Anjali Rafer's homework for that. And this is for page compositions. This is what Betsy Hudson did. And it's a really nice one too. And then in the hidden history of comics with Rob, he's going to show you so much about how we got where we are with comics, and where we are now is completely open. And that's a really good thing, but we weren't always, right? The distribution at this first section will talk about how closed the market was for so long, how closed the ability to even make comics was. And then we'll talk about how some of that broke out with underground comics, queer comics, international comics, kids comics, informative comics and propaganda, and zines and innovation and stuff like that. It's pretty in-depth. There's no exercises to do in this project or in this course except to engage in the discussion, and it's always really good. And Rob goes in and listens very carefully and asks for what people would like an additional bonus bonus talk on, and he'll do that later in the semester as well. You'll learn about the QPs and how the QPs started out as this and became that, and you'll learn about all of these things and how even things like the early Archies relate to Dykes to Watch Out For, and kids comics and international comics and things like that. And so there's a whole array of things you'll discover in that course. And then our first assignment comes in late October, where we do a 4 to 6 panel comic that sort of integrates all three of those things. Quarter 2 brings in Depth and Details with Justine Mara Anderson, which in some ways I think is our best course, because it just unlocks so many doors, and so many people say that Justine really showed them how to see, and that's a really great win, I think. And she talks about details in various ways, and about layering and creating depth, which you can actually see in this panel, this Star Wars drawing she did, an authorized one for Lucasfilm way back when. You'll look at the details of all this garbage down there, and she'll show you the reference she made and sort of why she placed everything where she placed. She'll help you look at long distances and sort of sort out how to render it on a flat space. She'll tell you why this drawing is so marvelous and how it works so well, and a variety of other types of pop culture drawings. This is one of our student drawings after that class. And then she's really into Bollywood, so she'll show you how some of this stuff translates internationally as well. And then, my class is Ideas and Vision. This is all about getting you to sort of relate to who you are, and to relate to the ideas that are sort of in your subconscious, and to relate to the visual ideas that are in your subconscious. And it's really about trying to access the real you, and not the sort of not what you expect of you, but like what maybe might be original in you that you haven't seen yet. It's playful. It's a playful course. We get you looking at a variety of cartoon figures and a bunch of story ideas, and we get you sort of responding to them in some ways. And then we get you expanding your ideas. This is from the expansion module, where we get you sort of building out and sort of like playing around and making your brain more elastic, and making your narrative brain more elastic, and coming up with newer ideas, and which you can edit down later. It gets a little more finalized as we go. And then Dr. Cooper brings us through modern comics exploration. And that's mostly a reading course, autobiographical comics, newspapers and beyond, like current web comics and things like that. Actually, web comics are down here. This is more about strips. Marginality and the things that we've been ignoring for so long, drawing space and time, and then manga aesthetics and how they've sort of creeped in. And that is largely a reading course. The conversation is held both live on Zoom on Thursday nights at 7 p.m., I think, in November/December, and also in the community. And here's all the reading is provided in PDF form, so you'll have access to virtually everything that she's asking you to read. A second assignment will, again, it'll unify all three of those. It'll unify Depth and Details, Ideas and Vision, and Modern Comics Exploration. And then that'll be our second quarter assignment, which is a 2-week assignment at the end of the year, at the end of the 2023. At the beginning of 2024, we'll dig in. Actually, we're going to do a 1-week lettering week. So that's not in here, but we've decided we're going to add that in. Then in our third quarter, I'll be teaching something called Comics Frontiers, which is exploring unique and experimental things we can do with comics. For instance, photo comics, which have actually a long history, and they're not well appreciated these days, I don't think. And maybe they're starting to come back with social media and stuff. But some of our students have done marvelous photo comics as a result of this. And again, what we're trying to do so much in all of these courses is unlock things in you. We're trying to help you see some things that you hadn't seen before, and try some things you hadn't tried before, and tell stories that were waiting to be told. So I hope that makes some sense. We play around with metaphor, and we do it in a really playful way with Nancy cartoons. This is an autobiographical story, but it's told with these silly images that are sort of basically stolen from from Nancy, but it gets us really, again, it's that elasticity of our narrative mind we're trying to shoot for. And then in our drawing component for that third quarter, we call it Finishing Decisions with Lauren Weinstein. She's going to talk to you about, let me see if I'm missing one. There we go. Working in pencil, working in ink, working in paint, working digitally, working in analog and digital combinations. She's done all of these things extremely successfully and extremely masterfully, to be honest. And she's not, I mean, she hasn't dabbled in these. She's done like comics for the New Yorker in pencil. She's done entire books that are either all painted or all digital or even in combination, things like that. And then she'll talk in week 6 about zines and booklets. Oops, there we go. And and here's some student work from the painting session. It's Betsy again. And our context course, so each quarter has drawing, storytelling, and context. So the context on that last quarter, the third one anyway, is markets, art, and practice. And that's where we try and tease out, and we have a lot, this is mostly discussion, and we try and tease out, who am I making this for? What am I doing this for? If I'm making it for an audience, who is that audience? How do I reach that audience? If I'm doing it for myself, how do I preserve the momentum I have in the course? How do I preserve the momentum I have in the community? If I'm doing it for other goals, if I'm doing it for other goals, what are they, and how can I integrate all these things? Can I have it all? Can I have art and a market and a healthy practice? And that's serious stuff. And actually that course more than any changes year to year because the markets change every year to year. That's the main reason, because I don't think who we are as humans changes year to year, but I think markets change year to year, and it really freaks people out. It freaks me out. Anyway, Emma, am I missing anything? You can tell me if I am. Anyway, we have, pardon me, thanks. So we have some, some exclusive content, like Matt Bors, who was the editor at the NIB, that just closed down actually, or is in the process of closing down, but he gave us a nice letter that we could use and some ideas about what kinds of pitches they accept. Anyway, in the third quarter, that assignment is to actually make something tangible that you can hold up. I should have something here. It's almost within reach. That is, and tells 2 different stories at once, and we sort of will guide you through that. And that's a really exciting project. That's the first time we're actually making something tangible. And it's lo-fi. We're online, everybody's online. We're on Zoom, or in the network. We're not in the same room, like using the same pair of scissors and the same glue stick or anything like that. But so it requires a lot of wrangling and a lot of communicating. But we get you there, and everybody tries something different, and we'll get you there based on the materials you have and your own inclinations. And the fourth quarter is a mentoring group. We'll divide you into smaller groups and assign you mentors like Jess Rollupson here, or Hyena Hell will certainly be one of them, and some of the others. And they will guide you for 6 weeks to make a 6-page comic for the final anthology. 6 weeks usually isn't long enough, so we actually will give you about 10 to 12 weeks for that, but you'll be working with mentors for that 6 weeks. So they're going to guide you through setting up your goals and trying to hit those goals, looking at the narrative, looking at the visuals, looking at everything, setting up community feedback, and helping you come up with a system where you can make that thing happen. We find a few too many people wait till the last 2 weeks to finish it when they haven't, when they don't have access to the mentor anymore. They have them for 6 weeks, and that's a really important time. So not everybody does that. I'm kind of goofing a little bit, but we do encourage you to use that time with the mentors really, really wisely. Here is an anthology. This is the 2 years anthology. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment because I want to show you in another window the other anthology. And I'm going to ask Emma to hold it up. I think she is. But I can't spotlight Emma, but Emma can. All right, it says my screen sharing is paused. Am I screen sharing? Oh, wait, I know why. Hang on, guys. Sorry about that. Can you see stationary objects? Emma, can we see stationary objects on my screen?
Yes,
Oh, great.
it's on
Okay,
screen now.
great. And it's on your screen too. So this is this year's anthology. I have no idea how many pages it is, more than I can count. Marvelous, marvelous stuff came out of it. And this is, and you can see the variety of types of work that come out of this. Again, we encourage all kinds of styles. We will develop, we seek to develop who you are as an artist. We seek to help you sort of like solve the problem of like, what decisions do I make? How do I take my talents? I'm going to start going faster, you guys, because there's like 300 pages in this. How do I take my talents and turn it into a story that people can read? How do I take what's interesting to me and make it into a story I can read? And you'll see we have genre pieces. There's some photos coming in. We have, this was a dream comic from somebody. We have really fun comics with a little bit of abstraction in it. We have a little more classical YA looking comics, all sorts of things. I'm going to go really, really fast now because I don't want to take too much time looking at this, but you're looking at a really fun project. This is the thing we do in the last quarter, is make these comics and put them together and then get them out in the mail to you. We oops, I'm going so fast it's moving out. Get them in the mail to you. We sell them at conventions. We put them on Amazon, all of these things. And so we get your work out there. And it's one of the things we're most proud of, is getting everybody's work out there. So I don't know, I'm just gonna breeze through this. Sorry, y'all. But that's it. Oh, it is another great, this is one, when this woman did the photo comics project, she realized that she could tell her story in photos and collage and things like that. And it worked out really well. This guy did some abstract comics. Anyway, and then she did pastels. So again, what we're doing is we really are trying to free up the ideas you have and your talents and things like that. I'm going to stop sharing it and go back to the other screen, which is here. Thank you. It wouldn't let me keep both those in the same window. I don't know why. So, so in addition to working towards that goal, there are weekly Zoom calls hosted by me. Those will be Mondays, alternating between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern. But in addition, there are self-organized calls by students where they get and work together. They get together and work together, and that's been really great. We always facilitate that, but we don't start it. We let the students decide when are the right times to make those things happen. We'll do figure drawing sessions with Sidney on Zoom. We'll do at least 2 of those, and again, he will canvas the students and find out when the best time for that is, and you guys will arrange a time. You may even do 3. In the 4th quarter, there's some optional courses that you can also take. They'll be at a discounted from the price you see here. Going in for the snakes is a course that I teach about emotional comics. We're also doing digital coloring, drawing in Procreate, nonfiction. Inking with Justine is a really good one. Inking Basics is usually the one we offer, not that one, but that one's good too. The storyboarding that Derek Ballard teaches, most of these are asynchronous, meaning that they're archived, but they're really good for that 4th quarter where you want to go a little bit into your own world a little more and want to go into your own, what interests you the most. There's the inking option with Justine, marvelous. We're at the testimonials section. I think we finished this quickly. We're at the testimonial section. There's like, seriously, I'm honored to say there's like 1,000 of these. I'm not going to read every one. Saw was everything I needed in the right place at the right time. This is Miranda Harmon, who is working in animation and has book deals. Saw has helped me be more confident in storytelling and drawing. I traveled 10,000 miles from India to study at Saw. That's true. Javed was a great student. Bjorn made it into the Best American Comics a couple years after our program. I really owe this program. I've been plagued by a gap between the work I make and the work I wish I was making. That's Vanessa Martinez. This program has been life-changing. I'm super excited to do more exercises. They've been pushing me. That's what we like to hear. I've got to look at the world a little differently. This has been the strangest experience of school I've ever experienced. That was during the really hardcore pandemic year. That student said that, actually. And I think, like a lot of us, it was a strange time. But Violet said it was also very meaningful and valuable. Justin is a professor of history, I forget where, Indiana, Ohio or something, and has been taking what we taught him into his courses. Oops. That's Aman, and he's a big fan of the Phantom. He also is really into kids comics and has been just doing marvelous work in the couple years since then. Anyway, lots of these things. Hey, I just love this program's content. It's energizing me in unexpected ways, gives me hope for the future. Michael is one of our strongest community members now. This was years ago, but he's pretty much a stalwart here. He's really helpful. I know exactly what I want to do with the story. I had a light bulb totally lit. Everybody is awesome. Thank you for everybody, what you played. I'm in awe with what I'm seeing here. You guys never fail to motivate me and get my brain flowing with ideas. I said I wasn't going to read every one of these. Perfect combination of inspirational and practical. There's no turning back. I just got a grant to make my graphic novel. Thank you. Without your help, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I love everything you guys are doing online. I love the sense of support and community. And in our network, we share student successes, whatever student success it is. That it's not always about like, oh, I got a publishing deal. Sue Kelly on the bottom there finished her comic. It was a mini comic. She was experiencing a lot of doubt about it, and it was so marvelous. And that also is a success. If you just finishing something that you're proud of is a real success. And I was telling somebody else, I'm not sure if they're on this call, but how we define success is, are you making work, and do you feel good about it? That's really the best success. It's easiest to put the people who got good book deals on this page or in this presentation, but really, like, the people who feel more confident, the people who feel good about the work they're doing, the people that feel more of in a community of artists, that's our biggest success. And that's what we're talking about here. I mentioned Kelsey before because I want to say that this community is longstanding. Like I said, we've been here for since 2011, actually 2012, 2011. Kelsey was in our in-person program in 2016, I think. And I just had an hour-long call with Kelsey for free. I mean, she just called me up and said, Tom, I need some advice. I said, all right, click this link. And we talked for an hour because she'd recently gone through the SCAD program and she was trying to navigate her career. And so we talked for a long time. And the point is that this community is strong, and we try not to lose sight of you if you need us. Kelsey and Nadia were in the same program the same year. And I just found out like a couple of months ago, maybe weeks ago, that they've been meeting on Zoom with 4 other students from that year every single week. Oh, shoot, I should have the picture. They went to Dollywood together. I should have that picture of Dollywood. I'll put that in there. I got to write that down. And anyway, so that like these communities really are strong, and art does that, but also we try and do that too. So that's what we want to do is help you become more of an artist and help you have more of a community of artists around you. So I think that's what we do. Whoa, I'm already at the got questions panel or frame or image. So I'm going to stop sharing. Look at that. I did it. Emma, I haven't been watching the chat, and I have a new Zoom, and there's all these weird icons on my Zoom. I have no idea what these images are, how to get rid of them, but I'll go to the chat. But Emma, I'll let you guide. I also change my name finally.
There are a few questions in the chat already, and if anyone has any more that they'd like to add, please feel free to add them there, or you can raise your hand and we can answer them.
We're happy
out loud.
Yeah, happy to have you come on mic too. You don't have to be
one of the first questions was about how many people we have signed up, or what size we tend to prefer the program at.
We find that it has worked really well at about 50, actually more like 55. And right now I think we've got 45 signed up or something like that. It sounds like a big number, but it is the number that seems to work really well, and it lets people find others. It also, most people aren't on most calls, so like we're not looking at Zoom calls with 50 people on it every time where we're answering questions and stuff. It's usually about half that. We find that about a third of the people are using the Zoom are using the network. We found like another third are maybe just using the network, and then maybe less than a third, maybe more like a fourth or something, are kind of working silently with a little bit of personal feedback every once in a while. But they do the assignments, and then suddenly they're like, hey, I did the assignment. And then we give them the personal feedback that we give everybody. But I think those people just like to like lay low. So that number works pretty well, that roughly 55 to 60. It's not overwhelming. What will be overwhelming will be the amount of course content in the first week. But after that, it tails down. I'm happy to answer any other questions. I'm not really looking at the chat, Emma, but I can.
The next question was about whether the courses happen chronologically or simultaneously. I've written out an answer to that, which I'm gonna share. But if you wanted to talk a little bit more about how in each quarter there are 3 classes at a time, and we're not expecting everyone to do everything all at once. Do you want to talk about that, Tom?
Sure. And also I'm going to I see somebody was asking, fudgesicles. Hang on, y'all. Wait, you know what, Emma, if you could put up the link to the course, that would be great too, the bundle. Okay. And I'm also going to, I guess I'll spotlight myself. Okay. So every quarter is 6 weeks. The 6th week is mostly a homework assignment. So 5 weeks of content, and in every course, and there's 3 courses per quarter, we're releasing 1 week of content every week for 5 weeks. So in those 5 weeks, there'll be really short exercises designed to get you just pushing yourself a little bit farther in what we're talking about. Like, for instance, week 1 in my course, in the storytelling course, I'm asking you to do a narrative image. It's basically one picture that there's a lot more explanation and more articulate explanation in the course, but basically one picture that involves at least 2 of past, present, and future, at least 2 of those 3 things. And that alone, you can do that in 5 minutes, or you can spend an hour really getting into it and thinking about it. But so every week has as an assignment in storytelling, an assignment in drawing, and some topics for conversation in the context course. That's usually pretty easy to deal with. And people, when they feel like they have to abandon one of those and be like, oh, I got a little too busy, I couldn't do that this week, that's okay. Then at the end of each quarter is that 2-week assignment, which is like a 6-page story. In the first quarter, it's like pencil only, and it can be rough. It's what's more important is that you're actually learning to tell a story. That you have to do. I mean, to finish the program and get their certificate and all that stuff. That 2 weeks should be enough time, and we will help you get there if it's not. And we have lots of people who are like, oh, I'm losing track, or can I have an extension of a day or 2 or something like that, and that's fine. But there is stuff to do in storytelling and drawing each week, but it's little. The drawing course, for instance, in the first week of the drawing, or the first 3 weeks, it's like draw a page of faces, and we give you specific parameters about what kind of faces and what kind of emotions and what to copy from and what to look at and stuff like that. There's a particular week in drawing for comics where we actually have you working in either collage or cut paper or something digital, where we're just looking at colors and shapes. And that, again, can be done probably in 10 minutes, or it can be done in an hour. It really depends on how much energy you want to give to it. So that's how that works. Did that explain it, Emma, do you think?
I hope so. If anyone has any clarifying questions, again, please feel free to add them in the chat.
I'm happy to try. Yeah.
And hopefully that also, and there was another question about how many classes we'll have each week. Hopefully that answers that question as well, about what's expected within each course, and the fact that we have one Zoom call a week that's led by Tom or another instructor, plus a bonus call in the second quarter.
But it's also true that the Zoom calls are they're optional. They are basically a duplicate of what you're receiving in the asynchronous content. So on the Zoom, on the, you know, the, say it's Monday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, I'll be answering questions. I'll be guiding you through this week's content. I'll be saying, here's what's released in storytelling, here's what's released in drawing, and here's what's released in hidden history. And I'll guide you through one of those exercises. If you're able to make the Zoom calls, probably one of those exercises done on the call, which will really mean that there's only one more to do for the week, plus, you know, a little bit of reading or a little bit of understanding history or whatever. It's
and
not
all
that
of those calls are recorded, Tom.
Yeah.
And everything's
absolutely.
made available afterwards.
Yeah.
There was another question about when the anthology is made available. Ideally, it's around a month after all the work has been submitted. So assignments tend to be due at the beginning of May, those final assignments. And then we have like a month or two to work on the design, and it's released publicly. So hopefully that answers that question. I'm also putting in the chat a link to, or describing information about scholarships, and a link to the course, which will talk about pricing for people who have questions. Tom, it sounds like you talked a little bit about how there's no requirement for people to be in calls. Everything's flexible, so hopefully fits in with everyone's schedule.
We've tried our best to make a schedule that works, and you know, the 2 p.m. call allows, the 2 p.m. Eastern call allows people from Europe to come and join us. The 8 p.m. call allows people from the Pacific Coast to join us, and maybe even from Australia if we have any from there. So alternating like that is we found to be the best. And again, we have those study halls, which are always both self-organized but also facilitated by us. We put them in the events calendar, and I don't attend those, but as I understand it, there's a lot of working on the projects together that happens during those. And
we have a bunch of opportunities to engage with people in the community if you're not in there already. Draw jams on Thursdays, Friday Night Comics Fridays, open studios on the weekends. So lots of chances to connect outside of the class times. There's another question here. Are there going to be any in-person classes this year? I might be the better person to answer that. We do offer 2 to 3 week-long programs here in Gainesville that are scheduled in the break time for the certificate program. So that means at the end of each quarter, we have 2 or 3 weeks before the next one starts, where people are welcome to come join us in Gainesville for programs led either by one of our core instructors. Tom was just here in July, or from visiting artists. Coming up in October, we have Tommy Parrish teaching a week-long workshop on making art comics. And we tend to announce or confirm the dates and the instructor 2 to 3 months beforehand and make that available to people in the certificate program. If you're here in Gainesville and you want to know how to connect beyond those week-long workshops, we have a monthly calendar of events, some of them formal, some of them informal, and you can look at our Eventbrite or our main website to connect with those classes.
Emma, maybe I can take John's call, and you can answer the 2 questions in the chat about payment plans and more about the art comic in person.
Yeah.
Awesome. John, do you want to, I'll have to ask you to unmute. Hold on, that's an official thing. John, if you want to just come on, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Tom.
Sure.
Just super quick question. Do you need access to any digital technology at all for anything in the certificate program?
That's a great question. We've always been really minimal in what we require of you as far as tools go, because we really want people to be able to make art with what they have, at least to start. And then when they want to go farther, to give them the options to know how to get better tools, for lack of a better word. So in the section, which is in March 2024 on digital, I'm certain that you can do it with the computer you're zooming on right now, even if it's a phone. That's a lot of limitations, but limitations can really make us creative. So what I'm saying is you don't need to buy an iPad and Procreate, or you don't need to buy a tablet and Clip Studio Pro, neither of which I know how to use. But there'll be but we will guide you through using digital tools in whatever way you have. And that also goes for analog tools. We've removed in the first year we did this online, we had an inking section, and we made people buy a $20 brush. It's a great $20 brush, but in the time since we've moved away from inking as mandatory, we've made it optional. When you're working in Lauren Weinstein's section about ink, there's a lot of variation on how you can do that. Not the $20 brush, you can do it with a $2 micron, you can do it with ballpoint pen. There are a lot of ways to play. If you start and you think, wow, this is exciting, I like this, I like ink, I want to go deeper, we can show you what kind of inks to use, what kind of other techniques there are, and then we can show you another optional course to take. That said, the one thing where we do need you to get on board is in submitting to the final anthology. These are sent to us, mostly Emma. They're sent to Emma digitally. So it's our job to teach you how to submit it digitally to Emma. Most people figure it out with our help. Some people struggle a little bit and we help them. Some people struggle a lot. It's usually 1 or 2 per year where we're at the last minute really, really trying to help them. And that's okay. I mean, again, like we can't come to your house and scan it for you, or but we can try and talk you through the issues that you're having. And for instance, in the last one we just did, one student just wasn't able to get good scans. She didn't own a scanner. She did it in pastel in a really beautiful, but very difficult to photograph. And then she took it to a local like Staples or Office Max or something, and was having a difficult time getting them scanned. So we worked with her over a couple of weeks to get decent scans that we then cleaned up. That's rare, and we hope that doesn't happen too often. But our job is to get it so you can get your work to a state where it can be transmitted digitally to us to be printed, and then after us to somebody else, to some sort of other anthology, to some sort of other website, to some sort of other print anthology. Like, we want to give you the tools to transmit your stuff digitally, because that's how it's done today. It's just how it's done. It's I can't remember the last time I sent art in the mail that wasn't somebody buying it. But in my early days, if I had my flat files here, I could show you the giant box of comics I sent to a printer in North Dakota with all my original artwork, and I had to send it in and just hope that they knew what to do with it. But so a short answer is, as far as tools go, John, you're probably okay with what you have, except when it comes time to submit the final work, and we'll try our best to walk you through that. I hope that answers. Yeah, we'll come to your house, Libby. You're in Canada, right? I can't remember. Anyway, I'm happy to answer other questions. I see 30 people on the call. I'm really excited that everybody's here. If you are interested and you want to reach out to me directly via one of the email addresses you have for us, or our little chat box on our website, then please do that, or on Instagram DM. You can do it now. That would be a really good time if you have questions. Emma, can we tell them anything else that maybe we haven't told them yet? I'll remove my spot.
We do have an FAQ section on our sales page. That was a link that I attached in the chat earlier, so I'll put that in there again. So if you do have questions, maybe they're answered there. If they're not, we're happy to answer anything. I have been through the certificate program, and it was one of the transformative experiences in my life. So I can totally attest to that. I want to reassure you that many people come into this program at many different levels, and it is flexible for you to engage how you feel comfortable. I like to say I go the introvert track. I may not be on calls often, but I am engaging with material. I might not be visible to my instructors, but I do know that they're there if I have questions, or if I need help that is beyond what is in the course materials. So we try to make ourselves available to you and make the program what you need. We know everyone works differently. We know everyone has different goals, and we have set this up very deliberately. There is an arc. We want you to get to a certain place, and we'll do whatever we can to help you to get there.
Since we finished a tiny bit early, and again, we do have a tiny bit of, we have space for more questions, but I like what you said, Emma, about the introvert track. I often wonder what, if I was able to go through a program like this. My own schooling experience was very, what do I want to say, meandering. I was dedicated incessantly for years, but I had to scramble. There was nothing organized about how I learned to navigate, to become an artist in this medium. And I often wonder, what if I had been, would I have taken the introvert track, or would I have taken the I probably would have taken the track where he just looks hopeless and never gonna amount to much track. That, I'm sure that would have been me at a certain age anyway. I want to say two other things, and I'm really because we have a few more minutes. I want to tell you two more things. One is that I'm currently learning how to play the piano and write songs. The reason I'm telling you that, wow, sorry, all those dings going off. The reason I'm telling you that is because I'm in a real state of beginner's mind about it. Like, I don't know how to do this. And so I'm constantly aware of the amount of structure it takes, the amount of practice it takes, the amount of doubt and resistance I have personally, the amount of frustration that can come up, but also the amount of delight that can be had when you discover a part of what you didn't expect. The point being is that as a teacher who's been doing this for 30 years, well, I've been doing the art for 30 years and teaching for about 25, trying to keep in the kind of mindset that a student might have has been really important for me. And so, like Emma said, we're really here to make the program work for you. And we're really here to help you become the artist that you don't even know you want to become yet. Like maybe you do exactly know who you want to become, and that's sometimes trickier, but we can help. The other thing I wanted to say, since we've got a moment or two.
We have one more question. Do you want to answer that first, or do you want to say your comment?
Will there be time for folks to introduce themselves once the class is finalized? In the course, there'll be lots of communicating in the community. Yeah, we'll have an orientation on September 4th and on September 5th. We'll have the weekly calls, and the community section is already open because I'm always overly excited and I'm always organizing on a. So yeah, if you are already, and Martha I know is signed up. So if you're already signed up, hopefully you've gotten a bunch of emails from us about where to go to introduce yourself, and about the first call, which will be September 4th, and then the next one, which will be the 5th. So I hope that answers Martha's question, and Martha knows how to get a hold of me. But Emma, I was just going to say, and this will be the last thing we talk about, since, well, unless somebody else wants to say something, but Emma and I are always trying to figure out not what the school is, but to some degree what the school is, but also what our job as teachers of artists and creators of an artistic community and things. And lately we've been talking a lot about how one of the goals is for us to give you the tools to become artists, and to give you the tools to become storytellers and graphic novelists, so that you can take it into your community and where you live, in the places and other places, the other communities you engage with, and take this art form and take this this method of seeing the world and this method of communicating out there. And I'm going to let Emma at least say one or two sentences about this, because you're the one who really started us on this conversation. So tell us more about that.
Well, I guess it's just a response to a lot of questions that people have about what do you do maybe after a program is finished? What do you do once you have your certificate in hand? And I think Tom and I have both seen how much comics isn't just when we sit at the table, it's in every part of our life, and we believe that pretty strongly. So if we can take that into other spaces and equip other people to take it into other spaces, then that's like the most exciting thing possible. And kind of equip people to see how you get out what you put in. That's a big thing about our programs. We have no requirement of you aside from submitting your assignments to receive the certificate, but we see the best results when people put in everything that they can, within reason, of course.
All right.
Excellent.
I see Masa there from the graphic novel program. Hi, Masa. Great. Well, we kept this under an hour, and I would love for you to all have a great afternoon if it is afternoon where you are, or a great evening or morning where you are, because we're all in front of screens too much. So let's shut down to 3 minutes early. We were hoping to go an hour, unless you have a last minute question. Otherwise, please reach out, email. It works fine. A lot of these other methods work fine. Don't try us on TikTok. We're not there. I don't know what else to say. Emma, are we good? Thank you.
That's it. Thanks everyone for being here.
Okay. Thank you. And again, reach out, and we would love to see you next week when we start. Thanks, everybody.